You're listening to The Roots, a podcast from Minnesota AMA District 23 Armca. I'm your host, Jackie Reese. Let's dive deeper into what makes our district so great. Welcome everybody to episode 4 of The Roots from Minnesota AMA District 23 Armca. Today I'm joined by another Minnesota flat tracker. I guess I'm kind of on a roll here. Jillian Deschenes. Jillian, how's it going?
It's going.
Good.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for joining me. So I did just see this article here in the latest American Motorcyclist magazine. That's so awesome. You have a full spread basically here.
Yeah.
And in this article, it talks a little bit about your beginnings in District 23 motocross. How did that all start for you?
I grew up in Elk River. We had a lot of land and we were surrounded by a lot of property. My dad got me on a little 50cc when I was about 4 years old. I did a lot of just riding around the cornfield, cruising around the yard. Eventually we kind of had some single track formed, back in Elk River, what's kind of now Hillside mountain bike single track. And then eventually we had a little makeshift motocross track in the backyard. My brother and my dad also had dirt bikes. And then, gosh, I don't even know what age. My brother and my dad raced moto for a little while, and then eventually I got into it. Just a few years though. I never was super good at moto. I had a little KTM 65. SX? Gosh, I don't even know. I got it from the Deans. And I raced moto until I was about 12, I'd say. Never super good at it. Always really intimidated by it. Primarily growing up, though, just a lot of tooling around in the yard. I spent a lot of time just playing on bikes.
Nice. So
Yeah.
At what point did you get connected with flat track? Because you really seem to have found your stride with that. Where did that all start for you?
Gosh, it must have been 4 or 5 years now. I started dating my now fiance, Eric. When we were dating, he was super big into flat track. I had never actually attended a flat track race before. I had only kind of heard about it growing up. I went and watched him out at Cedar Lake Arena, where we just raced last weekend. Actually watched Trisha Dahl, who, she was, the top in the women's class and a beginner herself at the time. And I was just really inspired by it all. I kind of, I hadn't been on a bike in 18 years, essentially. Wow. And was just kind of like, gosh, I think I could do that. I want to try that. And within a very short period of time, you have the whole flat track community just kind of borrowing you bikes, borrowing you gear, and anything to get you out on the track. And I want to say if it wasn't that weekend, but maybe the following race, I was out at the Dutchman, I want to say, on a borrowed bike in borrowed gear, racing in the beginners class, and I just kind of got hooked after that.
Nice. So what really about the sport really made you fall in love with flat track specifically?
I would say just, the camaraderie of the flat track family, just kind of felt like home, I guess, after not being around it for so long. And now having a daughter myself, I have a daughter, she's 9.5 now. And just, having her around the track, around the races, just the family and the camping and everything. And it's just important for me to kind of have that involvement, I guess, in her childhood. I just think it's huge for little kids.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I grew up doing the exact same thing, and I would be a totally different person today if I wasn't doing that as a kid. So you mentioned your daughter. Does she ride at all, or do you have any plans for her to ride at all?
Yeah, so I got her on a 50 when she was probably 4.5. Just determined to have her do, to try it. She had a little PW50, kind of into it, kind of not, a little scared of it. She would always want to just, ride it on the tar, on the roads, which isn't super safe. We don't have a lot of land here in Otsego. I'm trying not to push her, I want her to want to do it on her own. So the first year we were involved, she was pretty into it. The second year, she was more into American Girl dolls and just wanting to hang out at the track with her friends. And this year, she is taking an interest to it now again. And so she's going to be doing her first little hare scramble this weekend at
Awesome.
ERX. Yeah, and then in a few weeks, she'll be doing flat track at the Dutchman. So
Nice.
yeah.
So she has a amazing career ahead of her, it sounds
Yeah.
like.
We're just trying to feed the interest in it. Today, she's interested now, so we just went out tonight and we're like, oh, we got to get her some gear and some boots to get her excited.
It's like Christmas.
Yeah.
So last year and this year, you actually got hooked up with Royal Enfield and their Build Train Race program. I personally don't know anything about it. So take us a little bit through what that program is all about and how that came about for you specifically too.
In 2019, Royal Enfield approached me and asked me if I was interested in an opportunity to be a part of the Build Train Race program. I had never built a bike. I enjoy riding bikes, and I had minimal, racing experience too. So I was surprised that they wanted me, but also interested, obviously, in hearing more. I reviewed, the contract that they had offered at the time, and it kind of seemed like absolutely nothing to lose. It was kind of like, we're going to give you a brand new street motorcycle. They're 650 and a small budget, and then give you X amount of time to turn it into a flat tracker. Kind of no real rules except no motor modifications. I could really do whatever I wanted with it and try to get as many sponsors as I could, over the winter to have it ready for Flat Out Friday. And it was myself and then 3 other women in North America who were chosen for the program. And so it was super big honor, super exciting to be a part of. And then it really got shut down, unfortunately. Our first debut of the builds was supposed to be Flat Out Friday. And I think within a couple hours of arriving in Milwaukee, they shut everything down because of COVID.
Wow.
So it was kind of the start of the pandemic, but we really made the best of the season. We did get to race in a few AFT events, which was an awesome experience to be a part of. This year, there's now 9 women total. So there's going to be 7 more builds debuting by the end of May. So definitely stay tuned. There'll be, 9 builds total, 9 racers, and we'll be doing 4 more AFT events.
That's awesome. So
yeah.
For people that might not know, American flat track is like the pinnacle of the sport. So it's a huge opportunity for all these women to get to participate and, show off these bikes that they have built themselves. So I think it's just so cool. What do you have planned for your 2021 bike here? Like what all is going into it?
Yeah, so I didn't make a ton of changes, to be honest. I really put everything into my build the first year, I thought. I did upgrade the wheels. I have some Lowry racing wheels on it this year, which I'm super pumped about. That's really been the main modification that I've made. Everything on it is just awesome, and it has very few hours last year. So, just some with the Lowry racing, I'll continue to have the quick change setup, which is super important in flat track. And the setup will be really easy for me to switch things out independently and quickly when we're at the AFT event.
So what kind of situation would require you to make that change?
For instance, this weekend I was riding on, I want to say it was like a 5th-mile groove track. I was in second gear much of the race. We will be racing on half-mile groove tracks, and so there'll be tracks where maybe I want to, get into third gear or max out second gear, and so the quick change will allow me to, make modifications to the sprockets to really make the most of each, all the gearing changes.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
So you mentioned 4 AFT events this year. Which one are you looking forward to most?
Well, the first one that we're going to be at is in Chicago. I'm super excited for that one, just the debut and to be with all the ladies again. And then we'll be in New York, South Carolina, and New Hampshire. I'm really excited for all of them. I don't know if I can really say I'm excited for any of them more than, one more than the other.
Right. Have you raced any of those tracks before?
No, they're all going to be new to me.
Okay.
But I do love the half-mile. They're all car tracks. So what you would watch, like a stock car on. And those are my favorite kind of tracks to ride on. So
why is that?
I don't know. I just love the groove track. I'm not super familiar with like the loose dirt, like the it's predictable, and I don't know. I feel comfortable. I feel comfortable on it. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone has their strengths, right? So you're off and you found your stride with Royal Enfield, but you still find roots here in District 23 Armca. Why do you continue to race locally?
I just have fun. I find the district races, there's never pressure to do, well, you're just out there having fun with your friends and family. I just love all of the different opportunities within the district. I'll do enduros, hair scrambles, flat track events. I just, I like to participate in them all. And there's no pressure, to finish any certain way, but just have a good time. So,
yeah. For sure. And just an incredible space to learn and grow for, people like your daughter who are just getting into it, or vet riders too that are, still love to have fun, and lots of opportunity here. So I guess to conclude our quick podcast here today, how has motorcycling impacted your life? I guess how has it changed your life, and has it changed since you got into the flat track community?
I would say motorcycles have always helped me to, I don't know, I guess maybe feel confident in myself. I would say when I was younger, I always had such a good time, always such a good time on the bikes. And then I fell away from that for 18 years. And I think getting back onto the motorcycles again has challenged me physically and emotionally now. And just, I think it's just good for you, physically and mentally. I just love it.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. People talk about riding their street bikes and that feeling of freedom, and I think that it goes with any type of motorcycling, and until you get on the bike, you don't really know what that feels like. So, what words of encouragement do you have for people who might be a little hesitant to get started in whatever discipline in motorcycling it may be?
Yeah. I always tell people just, if you're interested in any of them, just go out. Don't be afraid to make a fool of yourself. Like we all start somewhere. When I started in flat track, I was really awkward and slow and uncomfortable on a bike. And same with, getting back into hare scrambles and enduros, you got to start somewhere. And, there's such great people around to encourage you. And it's just, I just encourage people, don't be afraid to make a fool of yourself. It's worth it.
Well, Jillian, thank you so much for joining me for episode 4 of The Roots.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
And thank you, everybody, for tuning into this episode of The Roots. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening. It really helps us out to build our base around this podcast. And now that we are in the full swing of racing season here in Minnesota, be sure to check out our website, armca.org, to stay up to date on that schedule. We'll catch you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks for joining us. Catch us every other Monday wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on our YouTube page.